Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. We got a special Faithful Friday edition, a special Behind Enemy Lines edition. Happy to present DarwinsRaven here with me today. And he's a friend of Bryant Culp and a great Ravens fan and a great Ravens content creator. So Darwin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm itching for this game. I know y'all are as well. A fun fact too, my name is Levi, so the joke is you're playing at my stadium on Christmas. But thanks for having me on, my guy. I really appreciate it. I try to make it into your channel every time I see you live.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it, Levi, and welcome to the show. Too bad you won't be at your stadium on Monday. It's a long trip cross country. I won't be there either. I'll be hopefully just landed on a trip out to the islands, to the Hawaiian Islands. So, I don't think I'll get a chance to see the game live. I'm just hoping I'll get a chance to see it, a replay of it, not too long after, before all the spoilers come through. You know, it's always impossible.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be so hard.
Especially when everybody knows I'm a huge Niner.
Exactly. You're going to get so many messages like,
oh my God, I can't believe Niners won, or oh, I can't believe they lost.
Yeah.
Or, oh, did you hear that Debo?
Are you going to talk about this on your show?
Oh man, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So we got some folks here in the audience. We got Bryant Culp here in the audience. Saying smash the like button and subscribe, share, comment. Let's go. Monday night is going to be good. It's going to be epic. Absolutely. Got David McNiner in the house and LFG 49ers. Let's F and go. Absolutely. I got you there. A couple comments. I'll skip those. Tommy says your stadium. And then the ladies' room. Uh-oh. Coming with the bold talk
already.
He usually saves that for us Niners content creators, but here we go. He's coming. I guess you're deflecting it away from me. Normally he says something funny and not too positive about the Niners creators, but we know it's all in good jest, Tommy. So that's fine. Tommy Huxley. Smash that like button. Keep in mind we are streaming to 2 channels. So if you're on TED Talks Ball, make sure you get over to DarwinsRaven and give him a like and subscribe. Same thing. Yeah, if you're on Darwin's channel, come on over and hit me up. Give me a like and subscribe. Also, if you're on a browser, just like open up a second tab and you can watch both shows at once. It really helps us out. And just make sure that you mute it so that it doesn't get too confusing there with the echoes and everything. But I'm just doing that now. I'm just trying to find the show under your lives. But
my thing's been acting weird lately. I've noticed.
There we go. One. Yeah, it's weird. What's been weird is like the views don't come in right after the show anymore like they used to. Like
I've noticed that as well. Like they kind of like it's like slower.
Yeah, and like you'll watch a show and it'll say 1 view, and it's like we had 15 people watching the show. What's going on? Why is it
exactly
so slow?
Like I'm glad I'm not going crazy on that. I really was trying to figure out what that was about. Yeah, last week I was trying to pull up my own live as I was live, and it was like telling me, "No, like you're not live," despite like my entire audience, and like it was pretty crazy.
There you go. No, you're not crazy. At least not for that. Maybe it's something else, but not for that. Tony Culp, Bryant, the better half of the Culp family, is here saying, "Hey, Levi." Carcast is in the house. Make sure you check out his channel. Stevo's Customs in the house. Says shout out to my guy Ted.
Everybody knows the rule. Happy spouse, happy house.
That's right. Happy wife, happy life. All that good stuff. Stevo's Customs. He does custom sneaks and other things. If you want some custom artwork, hit him up. Also, probably important to mention now with all the drama going on, this is not the same Stevo as Stevo Supremo, who has some beef with Ryan. We're all kind of trying to stay out of it, but it is what it is. Just got to get some things sorted out with my DM group because Bryant and McNiner are supposed to be in there, and so I'm working on that. Should have that resolved soon, one way or the other. So could get interesting. Steve was saying, I think we're too much gassed for the Ravens. I think if we're healthy, we are.
And the interesting thing that sorry.
But we don't have Armstead. Oh, well, I mean, we don't know if we have Armstead or Hargrave. I haven't seen the practice reports for today. They're probably not out yet. They probably don't come out.
They're not. I've been tracking it so hard, honestly.
Yeah, but I'm not expecting to see either of them. Yeah.
Y'all have the highest, yard per play offense in the NFL. But of course, the Ravens coming in with the least amount of yards per play on defense. So it really is the gap offense and the gap defense.
What is LE, Bryant? I don't know what that is. ELE. You have to explain that. Steve-O fears the Lambs. I'm starting to fear the Lambs. They played the Ravens to overtime and won. That's the only game and lost. Sorry, barely.
Have you heard that stat line about their rookies on their 90-man roster at training camp? No, I found it in our preview. I give so much respect to Sean McVay, honestly, coaching-wise. They entered their training camp out of their 90-man roster with 34 rookies on that roster. So more than a third of their roster, 90-man roster, was rookies at one point. And to be able to do what they're doing and have that's why you're seeing that growth, because you might know defensive players, when you walk into the NFL, it's hard to start day one and perform. So that's why you're seeing that Rams team kind of start growing. It's impressive.
It is. And, when people want to, everyone love everyone, Ellie. Okay, there you go. All right, got it. Okay. And we're also shouting out the Sentinels channel. He says, I won't use a pejorative word for the Steelers fans, for the Ravens, but keep it classy. I respect Lamar. He's not a fraud like Hurts. I agree.
I like when the Steelers are good. I'm a big believer in iron sharpens iron. And I think when the Steelers are usually playing their best football, or someone in the North is, the Ravens play their best. So that makes sense. Respect.
Got silly fun guy in the house. He's a Rams fan, but he's pretty cool. And yeah, as I was saying about the Rams, and the QB wins thing, I love to use Matt Stafford as my exception to the rule for QB wins, because I always say QB wins, they mean something, but they don't mean everything. They don't mean nothing. There's some meaning to them, but they're not everything, because look at Stafford, 12 years on the Lions, 0-3 in the playoffs. First year on a Rams super team, 4-0 playoffs, gets a ring. Then in 2022, the Rams O-line falls apart. Few people leave on defense. All of a sudden, they're 5-12. This year, they got all these rookies at the beginning of the season. They struggle, 3-6. And then all of a sudden, the rookies start playing better. Now, all of a sudden, they're 8-7. And in the playoffs, if they went out, they control their own destiny. So
yeah, they had another stat line when we played them. When Kyron Williams, Nakua, and Kupp are all three on the field, their offense is averaging 6.9 yards a play, which is outstanding.
They've got a legit big three there with like you just said, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua, and Kyron Williams. It's crazy that one's a rookie, one's a second-year player, and then obviously Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Kyron's got that. He actually was best friends with our Pro Bowl safety Hamilton. They both went to Notre Dame. They actually supposedly did everything together, so they're having fun, in the NFL, but on different teams.
There you go. Ty Alston in the house. Check him out. He has his own channel. He's also part of East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I got to meet Ty when he was out here for the Bucks game. He and I were both guests of the 49ers Faithful UK at the gold mine. There's 40 folks, so about 4 of us were here from the States. The other 35, 36 were all from the UK. Oh, wow. A lot of fun. Ty took some cool videos and got a good interview with one of the 49ers PR folks, Brittany. I think her name is Brittany, but I should pay better attention to that. My apologies, but good to see you, Ty. He's also known as 10% Ty. He's the agent to podcasters. He can turn your podcast into podcash. If you need a better co-host or want to get yourself onto a better show, just talk to Ty. He'll set it up, and he only takes 10%. So very cool stuff there.
Very cool.
Yeah. Did Ted just say they have a legit bit Oh, no, I didn't say bitch. I said big three. Big three. You know, because you need kind of three good weapons. I think you need to be really good in the NFL on offense, which I guess is maybe a good segue into the Ravens, because I feel like they kind of had that with Mark Andrews and OBJ if he's healthy, and Zay Flowers. But now that Andrews is down, likely is a really great story for a second-year player. But I mean, he's not going to.
I've got a unique
the way Mark Andrews did, right?
Isaiah Likely. He's definitely no Mark Andrews. For those that followed the reports, Isaiah Likely was actually the breakout star for the Baltimore Ravens in training camp. 6'3", like close to that 230. Really shifty, known for in college his run after catch. He's now in his sophomore year. But his first year, dude, his run blocking was so bad. So bad. Like if he wasn't an all-star receiver, essentially at tight end, he would have been cut from most teams. Got a little better in his second season. The real story, though, is they've played Patrick Ricard more as on the line as like an extra tight end offensive lineman instead of as a traditional fullback, which has paid dividends. But also we got another guy from Iowa State, Charlie Kolar, back, kind of took over the role as Nick Boyle in the Ravens offense. And if you don't know anything about Nick Boyle, long time ago, signed a 3-year, $15 million extension with the Ravens, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. And that's kind of Kolar's role in this offense, but Ricard also helping as well. But Isaiah Likely, good on the tight end screens. Keep an eye on it.
There you go. Well, yeah, I know Ricard. He's a monster. Mm-hmm. Used to play some defensive tackle as well as fullback. He's a big boy. Take some of the sting out of you guys losing Juszczyk to us. Mm-hmm. I'm sure. So
we were happy, honestly, for Juszczyk. Like actual Raven fans, when he went to y'all, he works better in y'all's offense. He's 230 as well, if I'm not mistaken. He gets outside quicker on those zone runs. He's a great pass catcher going back all the way to Harvard. And he signed I think record breaking at the time for fullback money with y'all. So
I want to say 242, but definitely slightly north of 240. But yeah, no doubt. We love Juszczyk. Someone was saying on my show not too long ago that he's overpaid. And I was like, I don't think he's overpaid. I just think he's underutilized. Mm-hmm. I don't think we use him enough, but he's worth it if we just got him more involved. And he definitely, is getting a lot of run. Also,
there's a lot of mouths to feed on that offense.
No doubt. Real quick, just want to call out. So there was somebody new here from Twitter X. So there we go. Brian Blake. I don't think I've seen Brian before. But come on over and watch on YouTube if you can. It really helps us if you're on YouTube. But anyway, watch and interact is great. So we're happy just to have you. He said Ravens D will get exposed on Monday night. I don't know about that, but it's something we can talk about here at some point. Ty Alston was saying Brianna McDonald is her name. Very cool person. Yeah, I think I said Brianna. I'm not sure what I said, but thank you for clarifying, Ty. No doubt about it. And Juszczyk is loved in SF, no doubt about it. Brian's saying Niners. He's giving us a clap and some fire. There you go. And looks like it's Small Town Reviews. So this is Small Town Reviews is a friend of Aaron Labigan, who I do First and Ted with every Wednesday. And he does Small Town Reviews, as it sounds like. He also reviews cannabis products, if you will. So check him out for sure.
Lived in Colorado for a few years, so I get it. I travel a lot myself.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, we've been talking forever about replacing Juszczyk, and we thought that, maybe that this Jack Coletto guy out of Oregon State might be the one to do it. We call him the Jack of all trades, but he's been released from the team. Maybe we'll get him back and he'll do that, but it just seems unlikely. Although Juice does have a $7 million cap hit next year and the year after. His backloaded deal starts to get a little bit tough. 5 is a lot. 7 is maybe too much. I don't know. We'll see.
Wonder what Ben Mason's up to. He got drafted by the Baltimore Ravens to be that potential fullback tight end role. He got to the practice squad, decided to sign with another team, got cut, and I think he's been on and off the Ravens practice squad now 3 times.
There you go. Yeah, and I had a Matt Riddle on yesterday, and he mentioned Ben Mason as well too. So that would be, or Matt Trigger, sorry, not Matt Riddle, Matt Trigger. So that maybe that's something for us to check out.
Raheem Mostert was on our practice squad, just saying, because Harbaugh has a thing against some veterans.
No, we got him directly from you guys. I want
exactly.
To say. So yeah, no, that was huge.
I was a little upset about that one.
Started giving him carries, and people wonder how he can be so resilient at his
20
age
touchdowns this year.
Running back. It's partly because he really had barely any carries in his first 6 seasons, and so Kyle Shanahan really took a chance on him and really developed Mostert here. So that was huge.
And again, good fit for your system.
Yeah, no, great fit, no doubt about it. He's so fast. Jason Danesi in the house says, "Ayo, just saw you live, so I figured I'd drop in and say sup to one of my favorite flock members and media when Ravens go game is on."
Ravens home. Man, Monday night, dude, Christmas night, 8:20, already okayed it with the girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, happy spouse, happy house. We'll be live for the game.
Cool.
I'm excited about it.
Man, maybe I'll get to check it out. So that might be a way to watch it some when I'm not in front of a TV or a laptop in a rental car there in the islands. We'll see. I might have to stop in and say hello. Silly fun guy. Also, I forgot to tell you, he's not a Rams fan, but he loves to drop the dad jokes. He says if a sentence only contains a dependent clause. I must have missed. There must have been a starter to that. Maybe not. I don't know. Did I miss
we got
something?
Azo dropping in as well. It's one of my guys from my channel.
All right.
What up, Azo?
Right here, the 07.
Yep.
Got MV Purdy in the house. He's or not MV, 187 in the house. He's a big Purdy fan. Saying MV Purdy. A lot of debate in Ninerland and across the NFL as to whether CMC is the MVP or Purdy. I think is a little further down the list.
The top 3 MVP candidates now are going to be featured in this game. It's going to be.
I feel like Tyreek Hill should be in that conversation too.
And I agree. I've been very vocal. It broke my heart, even as he's on the AFC side, to see him on the bench that last game. I've been very vocal. If he broke 2K yards, we got to get rid of the quarterback bias. Like, that man deserves it, So I'm kind of like hoping for him, except for when we play them, which I don't know if you saw the news. NFL decided to keep the Baltimore Miami game next week in the 1 o'clock slot instead of flexing it into prime time. I'm upset at you, NFL.
Yeah, it defies logic a lot of times how they do that. There's a lot of times where I thought.
What's funny is he talking about the reviewing those products. I thought about doing a whole channel for that as well because, I'm weird. I keep a logbook of every strain I've tried my years in Colorado over 3 years. It's hundreds and hundreds. I'm a weird guy.
Not at all. No, I mean, it's important because there's so many differences. And so
I'm really into genetics. I'm a man of science.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize what a big difference there is between a sativa and an indica. A lot of people just think of pot and indica because it makes you tired, makes you hungry, lazy, all those type of things. But then the sativa is so very, very different. And when they're a mix of the two, that percentage is so important of whether you're going to stay awake or go to sleep, maybe have anxiety or be relaxed. And it can be a very different experience. If you're smoking weed to get relaxed and you have the wrong kind of sativa, or vice versa.
A lot of people don't realize THC increases blood pressure, but CBD decreases it. So, of course, also weighing your CBDs and your profiles basically against, because a lot of people, that's the thing too. They're like, oh, and everything is geared towards a higher THC percentage. I got to get with Small Town Reviewer too, because I've got in one of my logbooks here somewhere. I've been trying to start a company and an app for a while in that industry. I want to start a recycling company.
Nice.
It's one of my projects deep down, trying to make some money.
I just hope you don't run into mafia types doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of palm greasing. A lot of palm greasing that goes
Yeah.
on in that. Fun fact, of course, in Colorado, everyone knows it's recreationally legal, but technically in the city of Colorado Springs, it is not. There are no recreational stops inside the city of Colorado Springs. You either have to go an hour north or an hour south to Pueblo or Denver, or there's like some weird shops that charge like 60% tax just outside the city limit that are like a weird indigenous area. It's a fun fact.
So Colorado Springs, so that's like 6,800 feet elevation, right?
Oh gosh, at least might be higher. We've
what's the Air Force Academy there is 6,800.
Yes,
that's where
it's right in the shadow
because the Niners trained there before the Cards game in Mexico City last year.
Honestly, me and my girlfriend, we moved here to Florida a few years ago. Not once have we ever said we like Florida. The constant theme is, man, we miss Colorado. Man. The craziest part about it is the cost of living is higher here in Florida and the pay is way less.
Wow.
Like, on average. So yeah, it's a rough one. But we're paid pretty good money here, so we're okay.
That's good. That's good. Small Town Review says if we win and Purdy has 4 TDs or interception day, he will win MVP.
He might be right.
A lot of people think it'll be Lamar or Purdy depending on
this really could, like, if Purdy has an absolute day, he probably pulls away in the MVP. Same thing with CMC. And again, same thing with Lamar. Lamar has been creeping up. Last time I looked, it was Purdy was in the lead, negative 200 with Lamar at a plus 500. But Lamar's been creeping up for, I think, 3 weeks consecutively. So this really could like be a huge thing. And I don't know if you know this, Lamar only needs 23 yards to pass his previous career high in season passing yards. And he's on pace for 3,800 passing yards, 900 rushing yards, being the first ever quarterback in NFL history to pull those numbers.
There you go. I think Joe Stevens is joking. He said, "Who is this guy?" Do you know Joe?
Yeah. Joe tried calling me earlier. That's probably why he's probably messing with me.
Okay.
I was getting ready for the show and everything. And I'm sitting here.
I was going to say, it seemed like a joke because he's too smart not to be able to figure it out if you really wanted to know. And then, you were talking about something else, though.
I'm so sorry. I got everyone off track.
No, it's fine. I just didn't want to miss out on the conversation. I was in the chat. That happens to me sometimes. I'm focused on the chat, and then
I think we were about to say something about, was it Small Town Reviews or Sentinel?
No, I think it was. I was just talking about how the Niners trained at Colorado Springs.
Oh yes, my apologies.
Get ready for the Monday night game, or not the Monday. Well, maybe it wasn't. I forget. It was a night game. I remember that in Mexico City, because Mexico City, a lot of people don't realize, is like 7,349 altitude or something like that. So 6,800 at Colorado Springs is pretty close. And it really showed in the Cards a lot of times will practice in Flagstaff, which is 6,000 feet.
I mean, that's Jerry Rice's old training. Do you remember? I'm sure you know Jerry Rice, used to run, God, what was that course out there? Like, it's a bunch of hills. That was supposedly what gave him that cardio, was going up and down in elevation constantly. Yeah. And he just outconditioned everybody. And I've watched a few coaches do that. It's funny, the high school Hunter Renfro went to, Socastee High School, the wide receiver for the Raiders. Their soccer team won multiple state championships because their soccer coach ran this. He was a hard school South American guy. You don't cuss on his field and you don't spit on his field. If you cussed on his field, for every letter in the cuss word, you ran a lap. So if you drop the F-bomb, you're basically running a mile. And they outconditioned everybody.
Wow, that's incredible. I don't spit. How do you not spit when you're playing football? I don't understand that.
This was soccer, of course, so like a little different. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, then I can understand. But football, I'm like, dude, you got to.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like, come on,
mouthful of beads.
Yeah. I just did not understand that. Okay, there we go. That makes more sense.
My apologies.
Joe says Purdy's greater than Lamar, but he also said Purdy was greater than Steve Young. Although, I called a lot of that talk hyperbole in the offseason, and Purdy is making me eat my words slowly but surely. I've been ranking him, and I've got him down to 2 to 5 in the league, because each week he does well, I just bump him up a spot.
It's like so hard because of course he has all these weapons and a great coordinator in my opinion. But like you can't take away he is like his release time, his ability to read. The only games I felt like he had bad, I think he had extra concussion that didn't get called in the Bengals game.
Yeah, no, that is exactly and there were some interceptions before that, but he was still coming back quickly from a concussion 6 days prior. He had played Monday night.
Back-to-back concussions, basically.
Yeah, he had played Monday night in Minnesota, and that's where he got the concussion. He threw the 2 interceptions after that in that game, and then 2 more against the Bengals. The third they got called back, and then he coughed up a fumble. But I don't blame him totally for those. I don't think he was 100% right. They said they cleared him, but people get cleared all the time that aren't right.
Exactly.
It happens all the time. They're very careful with their protocols, but at the same time, if a player wants to be back, they can kind of fake it and get themselves. They can just deny stuff that's really happening to get themselves on the field back sooner. And I think that's what happened with Purdy. So yeah, I mean, 2 of his 3 bad games were concussion-y, you could say. In the Browns game, I think taught us that he's probably a fair weather quarterback. I think he doesn't play well in the rain because we saw it. We saw it there in the Browns game. I saw it live at Levi's during the divisional round against the Seahawks last year, or the wild card. Sorry, first playoff game of 2022. And it rained the first half, and he struggled in the first half, and the sun came out, and the field dried up, and the ball dried up. And he absolutely torched the Seahawks in the second half to a record amount for any rookie in a playoff game ever. You know, as many TDs thrown as any rookie's ever had, and he also ran one, so he had more TDs than any rookie ever in a playoff game. And then, and there was also one dropped by Ayuk in that game too, so it could have been even worse, easily. So, between those 2 games, I'm saying I don't trust Purdy if it's raining, and luckily I don't think it's any rain in the forecast.
I haven't looked at the
report yet. Better recheck it. It was a few days ago when I checked, but always good to keep in mind what that's looking like around here. But Sunday, it looks like no rain till Wednesday at this point, so we'll see.
That's a good note to have, actually.
We got Chad Mears in the house saying hi, guys.
Yeah, so dropping in from one of my Ravens guys, part of the flock.
I think it's going to be an epic game. 2019.
You know about Matabike as well?
Was that? Go ahead.
So Justin Matabike's got a chance to make history too. In the Jacksonville game, he got his 12th sack of the season, but it was his 11th game in a row with at least half a sack, and that tied NFL history mark currently held by Chris Jones of the Chiefs, Trey Hendrickson of the Bengals, Jared Allen, of course, retired, and Sean Ellis retired. So, of course, if he's able to get at least a half a sack in this game, of course, prime time on Christmas, he will become the NFL holder of most amount of basically games consecutively with at least half a sack.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just one of those ones. This matchup is just building. Like
Purdy's tough to catch though. He's definitely he's elusive in that pocket.
One thing to the Ravens defense, get your hands up early. Brock gets the ball out so fast. And of course they're gonna be highlighting this matchup all day. Kyle Hamilton versus Kittle. All day. He's been the ace in the hole for the Ravens.
There you go. So the Sentinel was saying that trail, that hill you were talking about, grew up running with Jerry, still runs it to the trail to this day. It's located off Highway 280 around the Redwood City, Palo Alto area.
I've got a lot of respect for the Niners. I got a lot of respect for Steve Young. I watched a lot of his tape when I was trying to figure out how to better Lamar for this year. And I took actually some of the advice he gave about, how he really didn't develop as a passer till one of his coordinators took away the running plays, basically the design runs, and it really elevated him as a passer. So I got a lot of respect for the Niners.
There you go. We have a lot of respect for the Ravens, and we know that Lamar is 19-1 against NFC or something crazy like that.
Yep. Now 19-1, I believe.
Yeah.
On that, Bryant Culp right there with the game has the chance to be game of the year. I found this stat line earlier through the Ravens website. There's a stat called DVOA, and it ranks basically how good both teams are currently at that time and creates a point matchup. Supposedly, this is the highest DVO rating in 16 years. The last game back in 2007, the undefeated Patriots led by Tom Brady versus the undefeated Colts led by Peyton Manning, basically. So this really is like game of the decade, potentially.
Wow, that's crazy. And, it's funny because I do think it'll be a close game. We haven't done score predictions yet, but, anytime we want, we can do those. But it's just funny because the last two times we said this has like the potential to be the game of the year was the Cowboys game and the Eagles game. And we beat the Cowboys 42-10 and the Eagles 42-19. The big difference here is the Ravens defense is if we're not the best defense in the NFL, I think the Ravens are, and vice versa. If they're not, then I think we are. The Browns obviously have had some good claim to being a good defense this year. They're a little bit banged up. And I don't think any of the defenses are historic, but I do think that they're all really good in 2020. Or do you want me to play that?
Let's see. I'll see if the audio comes through. So
right.
For those that don't know, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk today, or was it yesterday? Of course, no association with the Niners, but this man is out here on something. Let's just say that. And he gave the Ravens some bulletin board material. Let's see if it'll play the audio through.
Okay, let me kill.
Oh, sorry.
Because we're gonna make it so the three of us can fit, right? So let's go brand, and I will take off my overlay. And I just had to put the right background, which is Levi's. That's where we'll be Monday night. So it won't be quite as bright, but and let me
see, if this will move right.
Comment here. So let's see if we can add Mr. Florio to the stage.
All right, for those that are ready, this is Mike Florio.
Kick the shit out of everybody they face. The quest is for second place. That's it. As long as those people stay healthy. They're currently healthy. The 49ers kick the shit out of the Ravens on Monday night. I'm sorry, I know that's disrespectful to the Ravens, but let's be realistic. At home, they're going to fly across the country on Christmas night, and the 49ers are waiting, and the 49ers are going to dismantle the Ravens. And if it's a Super Bowl preview, the Super Bowl is going to suck because the 49ers, as long as those guys are healthy, they're going to run. Kick the shit out of
everyone. Right there, you heard it. Like, giving the Ravens some bulletin board material.
Indeed. That's wild stuff. I mean, it's kind of like what I was just saying about the Cowboys and Eagles, but I just don't agree, especially because the Niners were healthy against the Cowboys and Eagles, and now we're missing. I think we'll probably be missing Eric Armstead. I think we'll be missing Javon Hargrave. And not only that, but then some of our depth, Kalia Davis, who's our second-year defensive tackle, who we thought might be the next kind of DJ Jones clone. He's out for the rest of the season with a high ankle sprain on IR. And, there's just not a lot of depth there in the middle. We got Kinlaw, and we've got Givens, and we've got T.Y. McGill, who kind of came off the Vikings practice squad last year, so not really a stalwart for any team, let alone for ours. So yeah, it's a little bit concerning, and defensive tackles keep the linebackers clean. We need them to make the tackles.
The Ravens, at least they just had an injury. Keaton Mitchell, of course, done for the season. So
yeah, that's a bummer.
A little bit of a break for y'all's defense, at least.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon being elevated. I know he has ball security issues, or had last time he played, and he hasn't played much lately.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping he doesn't see too many snaps. But Baltimore actually just also signed a guy from the University of Maryland to their practice squad. They're kind of really excited about.
There you go. It's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I think if the Niners are healthy, I pick us to beat any team, but we're not healthy. Some of the areas where we're also not healthy is safety. We lost Hufanga, but Jair Brown's been filling in pretty well.
I think he's actually improved y'all's coverage grade a little bit.
Maybe.
According to PFF, y'all actually went, I don't know if it's more from Chase Young or Jair, but I feel like Jair might have a little better range.
Well, it's a combination of a few things all happened at once.
That's
right there at the end of that 3-game skid that we were on. We added Chase Young. Jair Brown came in not long after that. That was after the Bucks game, we did win, but so Hufanga was there for the majority of the Bucks game, though, or at least half of it anyway. And but some other big things that may not show up are not necessarily personnel. Well, some of it is personnel. One thing though was moving the corners up onto the line of scrimmage to play more press coverage. Okay. Mooney Ward is a press corner. He is not going to do well if you've got him 8-10 yards off the ball all the time. Another big thing was we got Isaiah Oliver out of nickel. We moved Lenore to nickel, and we moved Ambry Thomas into Lenore's boundary spot. Ambry was thought to be a weak link, but he's been playing really well. And Lenore's been incredible in the nickel.
He actually earlier I saw a stat behind PFF like a few weeks ago. I think it was like 290 plus snaps without giving up a touchdown. I don't know if that broke, but absolutely, like you said, been playing outstanding for y'all.
Yeah, and so also Wilkes came down from the booth. He had been up in the booth. I was pretty vocal saying like, I didn't think it was necessary for him to come down from the booth. I was like, hey, look, Vic Fangio coordinates from the booth. Dan Quinn for the Cowboys, both good coordinators coordinate from the booth. And some personality types, we missed Saleh, who is, really fiery sideline guy. And we missed D'Amico Ryan, same thing, very fiery, motivational guy. And I wasn't sure that Steve Wilkes had that in him. There were some clips of him from the booth where like everybody's freaking out because it's a great play and he's just sort of like stoic and just looking forward to the next play, and like that could actually rob joy if somebody's like that on the sideline. But sure enough, he went down, and literally that next week the players were talking about how great it was to have it. And then
cue up that meme, first time Raven fans looking at Joe Flacco after a huge play, just
just stone-faced and stoic. Yeah. and now the players have talked about it again recently. I think even the last couple of weeks, they've been saying it as well. They really have enjoyed having him there. And so that's another thing that's helped our defense. So there's a lot of things. Chase Young is a big one, obviously. But, I mean, I think Isaiah Oliver out of there might be the biggest, honestly, because he was so burnt toast. Any fast slot receiver was going to cook him after, like, one step. Travis, real quick, is asking.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just asking, did Hargrave and Armstead practice? I don't think we know yet, but we should be finding out soon. In the next hour to hour 15, I would imagine. And then McNiners saying, "What up, Ted Levi? Let's go 49ers." Sideline Steve, yeah, I was wrong about that for sure. James Durnall coming to us from across the pond. Hello, my sexy bunch of spud-faced cabbage lickers, which I think is a good thing. It sounds pretty bad, but I know he's saying
I like taters. I'm Irish. I like my taters.
There you go. Do we have injury and active list for both teams?
It doesn't look like Fridays is up yet. I still see Thursdays. What's funny is I was double checking today. I've got Wednesdays, even though it's not an official injury report for the Ravens. But I'm stalking our website for that injury update.
There you go. Jimmy Perez in the house saying, "What's up, Ted? What's up, Jimmy? Glad to have you." And probably a good time to remind folks that we're streaming to both channels. So if you're in Ted Talks Ball, make sure you get over to DarwinsRaven, give him a like and subscribe. Same thing if you're in Darwin's channel. If you can come over to me and give me a like and subscribe, it'd be really helpful. If you're on a browser, open up 2 tabs, watch us both at the same time. We need those view hours, folks. It helps.
We do.
It helps.
I tell you one thing to keep an eye on. The Ravens finally get a guy back. And actually, I was watching John Harbaugh's press conference just a few hours earlier, and he addressed it. It's something I've been very vocal for the past few weeks. The Ravens have been missing their third-string inside linebacker, Malik Harrison, former Ohio State Buckeye. Even though he's the third-string inside linebacker, the Ravens have been struggling so bad at containing the outside run this season that they basically created a base package where he moves to the outside. So the Ravens are actually playing 3 outside linebackers and then usually Odafe Owe on the outside. And of course, he has not been playing for the past 2 weeks, dealing with injuries, finally getting back healthy when we need him most. So it's one of those ones you could probably see if the Ravens don't have him on the field, look for McCaffrey to bust out to basically whatever side Clowney is on, depending on the package.
Interesting. And Sentinel's Football Channel says that's what I think Lamar's capable of, save his longevity by taking away emphasizing pocket passing. No doubt.
And that's what Monken has done.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, you guys must be excited to be rid of Greg Roman.
Oh my God.
He held you guys. He held us back against y'all in the Super Bowl, and he was holding y'all back for years. And people were like complaining. And I'm like, I know all about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the things I get. I love talking to 49er cons because y'all understand G-Ro, like how bad it was.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have some good runs, but eventually you have to have something more than a high school passing concept. Like, horrible use of the offense, horrible play calling. We're very happy with Todd Monken. The bad thing is both coordinators for the Ravens offense and defense have been in the whispers in the head coaching candidacy already for some teams. Todd Monken especially, because he's got a lot of veteran experience.
There you go. James Durnall says it is a term of endearment. All good. He said, I'm overblowing teams out. Give us some entertainment. Don't even care if we lose. Wow.
I'll be honest. I think your offense is way better. Like on paper, of course, it makes sense. I think the talent-wise there, Lamar has just been. OBJ finally said it, and it blew my mind. It said it like 2 weeks ago. He said, I finally realized a play is never over with Lamar on the field. Yeah. And Lamar is buying like in the Rams game, I think from snap to throw was sometimes 8, 7, 8, 9 seconds, which Purdy, of course, the opposite, getting the ball out like 2.5 seconds from snap to pass. So this offense is
a lot easier to do when you're throwing to the Incredibles or the Avengers or whatever you want to call them. I mean, not just – I've been saying we had the best group of weapons in the NFL since we got Christian McCaffrey last year. That was last year, but this year it's kind of more like, well, we're the best group of weapons.
I wasn't sold on Ayuk till this year, and Ayuk is just putting everyone on show.
And he blocks too. And then and now it's like it's not even about best in the NFL. It's like this is the best in the NFL since, like, right? And I think we have a historic group of weapons.
You kind of do.
Right? I do. I think so. I think CMC is
also number one run blocking line as currently as well, if I'm not mistaken. Like, your guys are bulldozing.
Interesting. We got John LaJoie in the house, or LaJoy. Says, let's go 49ers. And 187 says, we are dogs.
No. That's Philadelphia because they took all the Georgia Bulldogs. Who let the dogs out?
I thought it was the Browns because of the dog pound.
Oh.
I have a Thursday show with the Browns content creator. We call it Faithful Dogs, cool. Spelled like that.
I got a lot of respect for Brown fans too. Like,
no Super Bowl.
To stick as a Browns fan through everything that franchise has done is commendable.
And he's not a homer either. He's definitely real. When I said I didn't think their defense was historic, he said I don't either. I said I don't think Browns, Ravens, or Niners defenses are historic, even though they're the three best I think this season.
The Ravens were going to lose at the trade deadline no matter what, because I don't know if you know, the team that was seriously chasing Chase Young other than y'all was the Browns. It's what the GMs want. It's the new trend. GMs want to pair elite pass rushers together for 4 or 5 years. And that's what y'all did. Essentially, they were trying to do the same with Myles Garrett. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other recent acquisitions.
We already had Zadarius Smith. I mean, how many do you need?
Never enough. If you look, when Patrick Mahomes lost the Super Bowl, he ran for his life because his tackles were out. When Tom Brady
his center too. Yeah.
Basically, whoever has lost the Super Bowl has been running for their life.
I was more impressed by Mahomes in that Super Bowl than I was in the one where he beat us when the refs beat us.
That was 400 yards behind the line of scrimmage running for his life.
Yeah, incredible. And he threw some dimes and darts. It's just that
sidearm beauties,
that one where his horizontal to the ground.
Just cut Kadarius Toney already.
Yeah, jeez. No, I mean, Mahomes
had me wanting to dust off the gloves.
That's why, that's why I have Purdy at 2 through 5. Well, because also he was 3 through 6 last week. But I'll tell you, if he keeps doing well, I don't think I'll have one in there next week. I think it'll be like 2 through 4, 2 to 3, and then maybe 1 or 2, and then maybe 1. I can't see putting Purdy above Patrick Mahomes. I can't, because what we would do if we had Patrick Mahomes, or if we had Lamar, or if we had Josh Allen, and I'm not sure I'm going to call Lamar an elite quarterback.
Falcons not pursuing Lamar Jackson.
Oh, crazy.
Arthur Smith's comments about Lamar, and the injuries, and of course all the injuries
go with Desmond Ridder.
It was mostly Giro, bro. Giro just put him in bad situations, in my opinion, constantly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's very clear what he can do with the right play call. And now I would just like to see what he could do with some better weapons.
See, the good thing Todd Monken has done, I think Dan Orlovsky, the former quarterback, now NFL analyst, was talking about on one of his shows. He called Todd Monken's a chameleon offense, because he really has done a great job of just tailoring every single game plan independently. Sometimes it's about giving OBJ isolation plays. Sometimes we see constant screen plays. They're getting the tight ends more involved in the screenplays. It was actually something Giro stopped doing, was screenplays. And as someone that played, when I played, I'm telling you, I hate teams that run effective screens, because you can never play off the ball. Your corner can never back off 5 to 10 yards, or a screen's coming right their way. And screens with guys like Ayuk and Zay Flowers, if they can take it to the house at any second. There
you go. James Renal says, I'd love a defensive masterclass or a shootout. Just want to see a challenge after the bye. My wife hasn't complained much about how much noise I make, because the games are over at the half. So, he lives in England. So he's talking about night games. He's up between 1 and 4 a.m. in the morning watching these games. And usually these guys, poor guys over there, they scream, and their wives shut up, I'm trying to sleep here.
If you know anything about the games I've called, they always end wild. Look, Ravens Colts, Ravens Rams, it always ends wild if I'm calling a game.
A pint of whiskey and an awesome night game would change that. Come on. There you go.
I know. I've got the crown already lined up.
There you go. I released just how bad the dead games are in the fourth quarter, watching Drew Lock make that last drive against the Eagles.
It's funny is I called that game too. So another wild finish of the game I called.
Yeah.
That was a wild
one time I'll root for the Seahawks. That was it. Don't ever make me do that again.
I just wanted the NFC East to be thrown into chaos a little bit. Both teams now 10-4.
Yeah.
I just want it to end how it always ends in the NFC East.
Yeah. Well, how it always ends is never back-to-back champs. So it means the Cowboys have to win it. So we'll see. But they're frauds. I mean, how many games are at home? That's really the question. Out of the last 3, how many are at Jerry's World? Because anything else looks pretty iffy to me.
I mean, we got to talk about too, if the Niners win, because all right, the Ravens said that they felt disrespected, that of course the Niners are the favorite in the game. I think it's the only second time the Ravens have been the underdog this season in a game. I don't really agree with that. I think it's all respect to the 49ers. I think the Ravens should slightly be the underdog. I think Lamar can pull it off, of course, but I think he's going to just have to show off a little bit if he wants to get that win. The Niners got to give respect.
Yeah, I mean, I echo your sentiments. I think we deserve to be favorites at our house, but I don't know. 5.5 does seem like a little much. But I guess 3 of it is home field advantage, right? So
I got another thing for you to actually watch for Baltimore. Baltimore is doing something different than any other team in the NFL these past 2 weeks. So I've been very vocal on the channel that I feel like you have to keep 6 starting offensive linemen on any NFL roster. The Ravens are lucky to have developed a guy last year named Daniel Falele, a 6'8", 3, monster tackle.
Yeah, like a Jordan Mailata 2.0.
Exactly. And he's had to play a little bit of left tackle last year with all the injuries. The Ravens last game almost split both their tackles left and right, 50% snaps. So Ronnie Stanley, the left tackle, really good franchise player, being subbed out for Patrick McCary, who's our 6-man guy for the team. And then right tackle Morgan Moses, who's been one of the best run blockers for us, being subbed out for Daniel Falele. They did it one week, about 20 to 30% snaps, had good success. Last week, up the snaps, Daniel Falele came away as the highest graded offensive lineman, I think, for the Ravens that week, and and Harbaugh was very vocal. So we might see a lot of that, a rotation of the tackles for the Baltimore Ravens in this game. It's something that I'm telling you, I have a feeling NFL is going to focus in on it hard this week, and they haven't as much the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, they say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none, but I guess if you have 2 tackles, it's screwy. I know we did it a lot at right guard last year with Burford and Brunskill. And I was saying that we should do it with Feliciano and Feliciano and Burford now, if we wanted to keep developing Burford but still get the best out of Feliciano. But I wouldn't be surprised just to see Feliciano take his job and maybe worry about Burford in the offseason.
As long as it doesn't come like an indicative of your play call, which if you don't remember, back when the Ravens lost to the Chargers in the playoffs a while back, they said based off how the offensive linemen were setting their feet, they knew pass or run right before this ball was even snapped. And that was one of those ones where I was so critical of Greg Roman and Harbaugh on our offense. And like, how do you not see that on your own film study? Like,
well, people said the same things about Trent Williams tipping plays. It was pretty famous last year. Jesse Naylor, one of our content creators, talked about it. Okay. And it was a whole thing of if Trent Williams had his left foot back, it was a pass set. He was getting a head start. And if it was parallel to the line, it was a run set. And yeah, brutal. But, Trent Williams is so good that, I don't know that there's much you can do even if you know what's coming.
Can I ask you a question about that offensive line a little bit?
Absolutely.
What do you know about your left guard and center, Brendel and Banks?
Banks, he's from Notre Dame. He's maybe not the best run blocker in the world, but pretty good pass blocker. Brendel, Banks, is a good run blocker, not the greatest pass blocker. Brendel is the opposite. He is a very good pass blocker, but not a good run blocker.
Okay. Brendel might be getting blamed a little bit for Banks. Banks, man, again, one of the better run blockers. His PFF grade 49.9, and that's because his pass blocking grade is ranked so low.
Yeah,
and that's why I asked about it.
No, I think Feliciano might be our best guard, honestly.
Oh yeah, ranked 84.4 on PFF right now currently.
Yeah.
Actually,
McKivitz is kind of the same as Brendel. Not a very good run blocker. Right tackle is not a very good run blocker, but he's pretty good in pass pro.
I know that was a big thing I was looking for the 49ers to address in the draft was that right tackle position. I know that was a hot topic among, I think, the 49er community afterwards, not really addressing that, I think when they had that first 3rd round pick or even the 2nd. But I know Banks is going to have his hands full. Of course, Matabike has 12 sacks on the year. He's the first Raven since like Terrell Suggs to break double-digit sacks. And of course, from the defensive tackle position, he makes it even more impressive. But the Ravens lead the league in sacks mostly because Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator in his 2nd year as well, he loves to run stunts. Michael Pierce, the former nose tackle known for being just a pure run stuffer, has 5.5 sacks, if I'm not mistaken, this year, having a resurgent year as well at over 300 pounds. Because, again, those stunts come constantly on the inside. That might be one of the few saving graces for the Ravens is to be able to attack the interior, hopefully. But I know one thing, if I remember correctly, about Kyle Shanahan's offense, the only way to truly beat it is you have to prevent the positive play on first down. Kyle Shanahan's entire offense is dependent on gaining good yards on that first play. If he can gain at least 3 or 4 yards, it opens up his playbook like probably I just take a random guess at like 40%. It's what he banks on, and it's just West Coast football, getting good manageable positions, own the time of possession, and and then with that element he adds is those gap plays or game altering plays where he can just take it to the house. And he's got quite a few, I feel like, in the playbook.
No doubt about it. And I'd say, yeah, I mean, we're best when we're on schedule. We're also best. We're a front running team. We don't have a lot of comebacks. Not saying we can't, but we don't very often. I will say that. So
haven't been put in many positions too.
If you guys can get an early lead, that could help a lot too, as well as limiting us on first down. They say that we have a pick your poison offense because of McCaffrey and Debo and Kittle and Ayuk. But I always say the best way to deal with a poisonous snake is to chop its head off. So if you can pressure Purdy, if Pierce can get pressure up the middle against Brendel or Banks, that might be a way to limit us for sure.
How is you might not know this off the top of your head, or anyone in chat, how is Purdy done from pressure from the slot? Have you seen much of it at all this season? The Cardinals might have ran it a good bit on y'all, actually. I feel like they like to run that style.
I just know that his passer rating when blitzed is like 158.3 or something ridiculous. But that's not the same as well. That would be the slot would be a blitz. So
yeah, it would still be a blitz.
Yeah,
just they bring Kyle Hamilton from the slot a lot.
I think he's closer to 110 with a straight rush. So he's really good against the blitz, but against much lesser defenses.
Oh, sorry,
let's be honest. It's hard to compare stats of teams that don't have really good defenses. So I think a lot of it is TBD. We'll just see on Monday. I mean, I don't have much worries about our offense. My worries are about, the
big story is going to be the quarterback spy battle too on Lamar. I have a feeling with Keith Mitchell going out, we might see a healthy dose of those Lamar runs. The thing is this, Todd Monken, he spreads people out more, and he doesn't schedule Lamar to run, but he gives Lamar, of course, the absolute freedom. So it's what you teach any quarterback. If they're playing man and you see backs, feel free to run. And that Lamar's having one of his most effective years of scrambling under Todd Monken, while, of course, like we said, 23 yards away from passing his career high in season passing yards.
It's incredible. And Purdy's coming up on 4,000 yards, which is huge for 49ers QBs. Barely any of our QBs have ever done that. So,
yeah, I mean, 4,000 yards is no joke.
Yeah.
Second in touchdowns, I think, too, only behind Allen, who has way more, like double the interceptions.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. James Renal was saying, also, if you don't adjust almost immediately after Kyle's first 15 plays, Kyle can handle what you're doing in the game. Kyle's been awesome this year.
I would agree. I've got a lot of respect for him.
Sentinel saying, I think we can win the Ravens game. I think we split with the Rams. The Commanders is a bye week. Well, if we win with the Ravens and the Commanders is a bye week, then we probably rest some guys against the Rams. That's what I
was just thinking.
Because we only need 2 of the last 3 games to solidify the number 1 seed. And I could see us either resting guys that are dinged up or resting all the starters, or doing it like a preseason game where you play everybody for a half to keep them sharp and then rest them in the second half. And
opposite for us, the Ravens need this win. If they don't, weirdly, with tiebreakers, the Browns and Chiefs could sneak in to the number 1 seed.
That's wild. The Browns with no QB. That's amazing.
I know. Joe Cool. It's just so funny to watch. I watched so many Cleveland fans for years trash Joe. And now that Joe is potentially their savior, because I used to tell my Browns friends, y'all have one of the best rosters these past few years in the NFL, just minus the QB. And Joe Cool trying to turn into Joe Playoff again. Oh, that was a magical year.
Oh, stop it.
Sorry. I forgot how it ended.
No, Flacco was incredible in those playoffs and against us. He had...
got his
like
bag.
You said, magical is probably a good way to explain it. It was never seen him like that before or since. keep Kyle off script because they're frustrated. That's when you can run away at the game.
Mm-hmm.
Purdy got blitzed a hell of a lot last year and consistently burned them. Not sure how do you do blitz stuff. Looks like the Ravens are the best in the league at. Well, one thing I know the Ravens are the best in the league at is teams that offenses that run motion, defending offenses that run motion, and we love to run motion. So that's
I actually have that stat. The Niners use pre-snap motion 80% of the time in comparison to the Ravens 57%. That's one of the big things they're talking about. The Niners get a lot of good, easy looks because of the play calling by Shanahan. It forces constant communication on the defense. And if you're missing a guy, if somebody's out that's not used to it, if it was the Ravens defense of old that used to blow plays left and right, we would be in so much trouble right now. But that's going to be a constant thing. Shanahan's offense stresses the communication lines of the defense. And again, that's the thing. If Shanahan exposes you and you don't have a play call for it, you essentially have to create a play call on the fly to adjust for it, or he's just going to abuse you all game. And that's, like I said, just brilliant coaching, to be fair.
No, there's a lot of things Shanahan's a genius about, no doubt about it. I was starting to think quarterback wasn't one of them, but he definitely seems to have made the right choice with Purdy here. I never thought I'd see Purdy hit all these deep balls the way he is, but he's nailing them for sure.
He said, somebody say something about my arm strength. Lamar kind of did the same thing. He was missing. He's still missing kind of some of those deep balls. That's the thing. If Lamar would hit even 2 more deep balls every time, they're going for touchdowns if he hits them. He's about half a stride off on that chemistry. And so if he can hit his stride, I would honestly say this. If Lamar was in full stride and he was hitting even 50% more of those deep throws, I think he would be the leading MVP right now candidate.
Interesting. Sentinel is asking who your DC is.
Our defensive coordinator is Mike McDonald. Mike McDonald, former linebacker coach of the Baltimore Ravens, interviewed for the defensive coordinator, lost it to Wink Martindale, who, of course, is now with the Giants. Baltimore brought him back from Michigan after that magical run with Jim Harbaugh. And he's in his sophomore season now, and he actually was one of the early favorites after Josh McDaniels was fired over there in Las Vegas. His name's come up because, again, the Ravens are leading the NFL in sacks, despite not having, most people could not tell you who the edge rushers are for the Baltimore Ravens. They know Madubuike. No one really knows Odafe Owe outside of Baltimore, and Jadeveon Clowney's leading the effort on the opposite side for the Ravens.
Because he changed his name from Jason.
Yes, sir. And I don't know if you know the story about David Ojabo. I think back on the IR, sadly.
Oh, too bad. Yeah, he's the Achilles guy in the combine.
Sir. So that's also part of the whole chemistry. Came from the University of Michigan, like you said, tore his Achilles at his pro day. So basically forfeited his entire first year. Baltimore took him in the second round the same year we brought Mike McDonald. So the guy that Aiden Hutchinson credited for really bringing out his talent as a pass rusher and also made David Ojabo before his Achilles was potentially a top 15 pass rusher. We were supposed to, and even goes deeper, David Ojabo and Odafe Owe both went to the same prep school in New Jersey. They were roommates. They were best friends. This is like their dream. These are 2 high school roommates that were best friends that came to America basically. And now they're on the same team, both the edge rushers. It was supposed to be that feel good story. And Owe is always half a step away from getting a sack. His pressure rate is great. His sack number's not that great. And like I said, David Ojabo having some injury issues. Little sad, and that's why Jadeveon Clowney is playing on the outside, and subsequently Jadeveon Clowney can't defend the run, so we have to sub in Malik Harrison, the third string inside linebacker. The Ravens, though, might get a young undrafted rookie free agent back. He's been on IR the whole season. They activate him, Malik Ham. I think he might wear number 59. Keep an eye out for him. I think had 2
Christmas ham.
had 2 sacks in the preseason, I think, against the Commanders. Really was one of those guys that was going to make I think he made the roster coming out of training camp. Might have. But the Ravens are kind of really excited to get him back. Sorry, I go off the spree.
No, it's fine. Team Collie in the house. Purdy, Debo, Ayuk, and Jennings on the long ball. You overthrew Purdy, would no doubt be the MVP.
Oh yeah, you were talking about earlier about how Purdy missed some balls earlier in the season, especially like those 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, he did. He missed some before that too, but boy, he's been nails ever since. So hopefully that continues. We'll see. Like Luke Skywalker. There you go. Got all the Star Wars references. How is the Ravens run game without Mitchell? Do they have a home run threat, or is it a power back style?
Well, so of course the power back he's referring to is Gus the Bus Edwards, someone I've been banging since we signed Mark Ingram. I've been telling Raven fans we didn't need Mark Ingram. I love Mark Ingram. I love everything about him, but we didn't need him. The other running back to keep an eye on, Justice Hill, wears number 43 for the Baltimore Ravens. Again, he's been on the Ravens roster 4 or 5 years plus now. Jack of all trades. Doesn't really have that power. He's a one-cut style runner with really good burst. I was telling Raven fans last year there's no reason to sign Kenyon Drake. I thought it was a horrible signing, especially when Justice got healthy. Not quite that next level speed of Keaton Mitchell, but he's got a little bit of home run potential. So you got to keep an eye out on him. You'll see Gus on the inside and Justice Hill outside and on probably passing downs. Got really good hands.
There you go. James doesn't like the Luke Skywalker. He says, got to go Vader. The 49ers are the Sith Empire. I don't know. It doesn't end up well for them, James.
I'm a Kenobi and Ahsoka Tano kind of person.
There you go. Love me some Ben Kenobi. Real quick, also, you might be interested to know that my sponsor is out of Baltimore.
Really?
They're called the Travelstead Group, the TTG up there in the corner of the overlay. That's what that's for. They do retail and hospitality logistics. So they do transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar. They do fixed furniture and equipment, which is FFE. They do operating supplies and equipment, which is OSE. New store openings, rollouts, relocations, decommissions. From the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between, Travelstead has you covered. Let them know how they can help you via air, ocean, or land. They do closed-loop solutions for retail and hospitality. Nick and Henry are the go-to guys over there, and they have 100% US-based support. So, these are complex operations, so there's often fine-tuning, but sometimes there's snafus too, and it's good to know when you pick up the phone, you're not going to end up in some call center overseas where they have no clue what you or your business do. So check out the link. It's in the description for the show. So is the link to DarwinsRaven YouTube channel. But click the Travelstead link, check out their video, and make sure you tell them Ted sent you. So thanks, Levi, for letting me get the bills paid. And thanks to the audience for their patience.
Always.
Some of them heard that one way more than once. So.
What's funny? I was looking at that, and I was looking at you got a Fanatics code as well, I think.
Yes, indeed. I do have a Fanatics. But you know what I need to do is like link it to a CMC or Purdy jersey or something instead of like to the main page. So that's a good reminder. I hope I can get that done before I go on vacation here next week.
Actually, I saw it on your link and it inspired me to go check out the affiliate program over there. I applied and all that, so I'm waiting to hear back. I'm trying to design some merch myself though for the channel.
Nice. Well, I will put in a good word with the North American director of affiliates and let them know you're interested. Maybe that'll help. So what else?
Yep, I was just about to.
Yeah, I read somewhere Lamar is great under pressure, but not so good against the blitz. Is he looking to escape on blitz, or is his O-line not picking the blitz up? I've heard the Ravens O-line is a little bit sketchy.
We dealt with some injuries here and there. The week 13 bye week was huge for the Ravens, able to start getting healthy here late. I think actually looking at the injury report yesterday, the only people actually on the injury report, OBJ missing a second day with illness, and cornerback Jalen Armour Davis out of Alabama, someone I really had high hopes for, but been on the injury report quite often. So, they're pretty sketchy. The real star has been Ricard. So Todd Monken's offense doesn't traditionally use like a real fullback. But Ricard is too good of a player, especially blocking, to not have on the field. So what the Ravens have been doing a lot this season to negate these all-star pass rushers, look at Myles Garrett's tape with the Browns, is Ricard has been lining up on the line basically as like a tight end or extra lineman because he is 300 pounds. Of course, you talked about it earlier. He was an undrafted rookie free agent defensive tackle that moved to fullback for us. And in this offseason, he spent time, if I'm not mistaken, in a bunch of different position groups. So he was in the running backs room. He was in the offensive line room. He was in the tight ends, wide receiver room, basically doing a lot of it. So that's been the real secret weapon wherever Myles Garrett has been and what we were planning to do before you got Chase Young, basically, wherever Bosa is, line up for Ricard as that second guy. So now every time you have to fight through a double team, and it really it's starting to work its in. I think he's only done it once this season, but Ricard slipped out for, I think, a 20-plus yard gain because they used him so much as a blocker, and then they, delay released essentially on it, especially after a roll. And it's one of those ones deep in the playbook, I have a feeling. Before y'all had made the Chase Young trade, I would have taken the Ravens even. But like I said, in respect, after the Chase Young trade, I can't see the Niners not being the favorites in this game a little bit.
There you go.
But that's going to be the story. Can we contain both your guys?
I mean, adding Chase Young is nice, but it doesn't make up for losing Javon Hargrave and Armstead. So,
yeah, interior pass rush is the real. If you have to be able to push the pocket.
Yeah,
that makes the edge rushers that much more effective.
Exactly. James also said, "I'm still convinced CMC is the MVP, no matter what these guys do in this game. Tied consecutive TD record, nearly 1,000 times 2, almost broke Jerry Rice's TD franchise record." So CMC. I've been saying CMC for MVP
that thousand
early in the season, but Purdy is definitely catching up. It's getting harder and harder to deny his claim to it, and Monday could be it.
I've got another thing to keep an eye on. I haven't really seen it much since the Lions game. The Ravens, when they identified one of the tackles, like maybe McKivitz in this example, might not do so well, or they just something. The Ravens were running a formation where they were running 3 down linemen really heavy on basically over the left tackle, running 5-4-3 on that side, while then basically lining Clowney up on a 1-on-1 on the opposite side tackle. And that's what happened to the Lions. That's how the Ravens absolutely abused that Lions offense. I don't know what Mike McDonald saw on the tape, but it's something I've been looking for the Ravens to bust that formation back out on somebody.
Interesting. Good to know. Hopefully it won't be as effective with tougher players like Debo and Kittle and Trent Williams. Although Lions O-line is really good. So one of the best. We got some dad joke Star Wars jokes. How close was Anakin to the lava? About 2 feet away. Oh, and then James Turnall getting in on it. Why did Princess Leia date so many guys?
2 feet in arm.
She was looking for Nub in all the wrong places. Looking for Nub. Anyway, yeah, Alderaan places. Love it.
I love all the references.
Very good. Silly likes it too. He loves a good dad joke.
I queue up a lot of like gifts and stuff like that on my stream. Been queuing up them 9-9 gifts for Andre Bauer.
What was the one from yesterday? How do you catch a unique rabbit? Unique up on it. How do you catch a normal rabbit? I'll have to type that one out. I forgot the rest of it, but
one of the
pretty funny.
One of the fun PFF stats. So Baltimore Ravens coming in 3rd in the NFL according to PFF in pass blocking. 49ers actually pretty low on the list, 26, but I would argue that's because you get rid of the ball so fast. But of course, we mentioned a few times, Niners subsequently number 1 run blocking team in the NFL. Ravens number 8. according to PFF. So
Also,
two really good ones.
Some of our stats on the O-line are skewed from when Trent Williams was out for 3 games.
Oh, that definitely
with the ankle sprain.
Heavily.
Yeah. And
he's a Hall of Fame player.
And like you said, there's just sometimes there's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes stats can be misleading without context.
Agreed.
And our O-line is not as bad as a lot of people were trying to say it was. A lot of times they were just trying to say it to try and prop Purdy up. Like, oh, Purdy must be amazing because our O-line is trash.
When I was analyzing, I think it was Brindle. Of course, his grade 59.2, high run grade, pretty low pass grade. And that's why I was wondering if maybe he was getting blamed a little bit from Banks. But when I started looking at stats, I'm like, how is his grade so low? He hasn't really given up any pressures. Maybe every once in a while he'll give up 3 pressures, which I feel like it's not terrible. In a game, especially against, the Niners have played some pretty high level competition across the board. It just, the numbers, I was like, doesn't line up.
No doubt about it. Like I said, the stats, the eye test is always first for me.
Agreed.
And then I go off raw stats and then something like PFF.
And sometimes maybe the raw stats will give me a place to go look.
Yeah. Here's that joke that Cecilia told that I thought was funny. How do you catch a unique rabbit? Unique up on it. How do you catch a tame rabbit? Tame way. Unique up on it. How do you catch an uncommon rabbit? Come on. Common rabbit. Come on. Tame way. Unique up on it.
That's clever wordplay.
Yeah. They're not always funny, but they're usually very punny. And that one is punalicious. Yeah. And then Kenny for a Culp in the house says 19-1. I think that was Lamar's record against the NFC.
Yeah, because it started before Seattle, and then we extended Seattle and Arizona onto that. Also, I don't have the stat here, but historically, Baltimore has not treated quarterbacks that have not faced them before very well. But Purdy having the MVP season, this really is going to be the showdown. If the Niners come away, the amount of Super Bowl talk is going to explode. I feel like on the 49ers side, and rightfully so.
No doubt about it. It's going to be interesting for sure. So do you have a prediction for the game?
Oh, so I think this might end in a crazy finish, guys. I called the crazy finish in the Rams game. If you weren't there, we made some clips today. I told Peo it was going to come down to a big special teams play. Tylan Wallace walked off with it in overtime. My big prediction for this game is on Christmas night, it'll be a tie game with Baltimore making the late score to tie it. But instead of going for the PAT and forcing overtime, John Harbaugh makes the ballsy decision to go for 2 because no one wants to go into overtime on Christmas. Ravens win. I originally said 29-28. But there's definitely going to be field goals in there. So I don't know my official number. I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's funny you said 29-28 because my prediction is 28-27. Niners win. I given Justin Tucker to make a couple of field goals. Oh, or maybe you guys don't convert the 2-point. Maybe
that actually would be yeah.
Maybe we stone you on the 2-point conversion and walk away with the win. I was thinking 2.
If it happens, guys, you heard it here first.
So we agree on 4 TDs each.
It's going to be crazy.
We just disagree on the 2-point conversion at the end. I'm saying the Niners stop you somehow, some way. Fred, Bosa, somebody, Jair Brown, somebody comes up with an amazing play.
Oh, God, it's probably going to come down to Lamar's probably going to roll out right on the final PAT play. Isaiah likely, of course, going to be lined up on that side. OBJ, far Z side. You're probably going to have Bateman on the X left side, deep in route, running the back line of the end zone. Lamar finds Bateman on the back line for the 2-point PAT attempt. Crazy prediction.
That's a lot of details, man.
Specific.
Wow.
I don't have the NFL script, I promise.
Oddly specific. So Levi, what else you got going on coming up? I know you've had a bunch of Niner shows this week. Are you done with us now?
I think so. I don't think I've had anyone else hit me up. So I think I'm done with the Niner shows. of course, we're going to be calling the game live on Darwin's Raven. So definitely come check us out. And we're trying to put out more content. And we got a lot of draft content. I don't know if I've ever told you my draft story with Disneyland.
No.
So it's one of my favorite. I would love to be, of course, an NFL scout. No, of course, the dream would be with the Baltimore Ravens, but I would take any position, any team, honestly. Back in 2008, I was at my grad night in Disneyland, and I left Disneyland Park to go back to the hotel. My friends thought I was crazy. I went back to go watch that 2008 draft. The draft is honestly one of my favorite times. I sometimes joke I get more excited about the NFL draft than I do sometimes about games. Baltimore has a deep history of building through the draft, and I love the potential. I did a draft special mostly focused on guys second round or later, offense and defense, this past off season, and it's like putting my numbers on the book, and my running back room makes me look like an all-pro scout. Devon Kane leading the way, and of course, Keaton Mitchell. A lot of people were like, "Where did Tyson Bagent came from?" Yep, I focused on Tyson Bagent, and it was so hard to find stats on him, But by watching him, he caught me through the eye test at the NFL Combine. He was part of the day one quarterback group. And just off something I saw, I was like, you know what? Might be a good game manager. And he showed some talent. So it's one of my things.
For Justin Fields, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like I said, I called a bunch of guys. I focused actually on your 49ers a good bit, tracking your pre-draft visits and all that. Basically trying to find your late round guys and your priority undrafted rookie free agents, which quite a few actually ended up making onto the Niners roster. So I look forward to doing more of it this year.
There you go. Love it. Some comments to catch up on. James thinks 70-20 or 42-38 if it's a shootout. I don't think it'll be a shootout. I don't want to blow out, get loud. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I would be perfectly happy if we blew out the Ravens. I don't think you guys will blow us out, though. I don't think anybody's blowing this team out with this offense.
If we start blowing y'all out, your offense will respond immediately.
Maybe we'll just turn the lights out. Here's that.
Cut off the headsets and turn the lights out,
bastards. Guys. Everybody thinks it was the Niners responsible for getting the lights because we were getting our asses handed to us when the lights went out. And then they came back on.
After that, the headsets for the Ravens didn't work after the lights came back on, which actually is funny. The headsets went out in the last game for the Ravens in Jacksonville.
Used to happen to the Niners a fair amount too, and it seems like that hasn't happened much anymore. So I'm glad that's over with. It's going to come down to a field goal. Moody needs to be money. So Moody, our kicker, was perfect until the Browns game, and then he missed two, including the game winner and the potential game winner in the Browns game. That was huge because we had played like doo-doo the whole game, and Brock somehow drove us down at the end of the game, end of regulation, and Moody missed a 41-yarder. Then he missed one in Minnesota from like 40.
And that's an inside stadium. So
stadium, no win. And but he had slipped on that grass in practice in pregame.
Did they have that artificial turf out there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I hate artificial turf.
He didn't kick well. And then he's been perfect since. I will say, while he's been perfect since, there have been a couple situations where we've been at the edge of his range where we punted instead of kicking the field goal, I think to just preserve his confidence. So it's not as perfect as it sounds.
It's not easy. I played a little bit of semi-pro and I grew up kicking. There
you go. Yeah. So hopefully he stays perfect, but we'll see. It's Team Cali thinks we're going to need him.
Yeah, Tucker actually not having a good year from 50 plus actually this year. It kind of broke my heart when I was doing my Pro Bowl voting. A little bit of favoritism might have played into him making it in for the kickers, but I'll be honest, there have been a lot of really good kickers in the NFL this year. Justin Tucker, of course, reclaimed his spot as the most accurate after missed Young Ho missed like 2 kicks. But man, looking at those stats, that hurt my pride a little bit as a kicker. We've always had a great history of kickers going all the way back to Matt Stover.
Right. James Journal says, "Don't be duty, be moody." Well, moody. Another, definition of moody is unpredictable. So
if he misses the kick, I'm dusting off my cleats, guys. I used to boot 40-yarders barefoot.
There you go. 3 misses in 2 games. The entire team struggled in those 3 games. Yeah, that's true. Randy's defending Moody. I like it.
Yeah.
Bryant Culp will defend Moody to the death. He's a huge
I was
Moody.
happy for Bryant. I was live with Bryant during the draft, and I was happy for him. Like when they drafted him, I was like, nah. He was honestly the best kicker in college football. You can't really be too angry with it. Not a lot of teams can find kickers like Baltimore does, you know.
No. Yeah,
we can't find a wide receiver to save our life usually.
No,
Zay and Bateman are hopefully going to break that. Please don't get mad at me, Flock.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Anything else you got? So I got Ballin' with Bash and Ted today at 3, 6 p.m. Pacific, and then next week I'll probably get some shows in, but nothing's set in stone. I'm on vacation, so only as like the wife and family.
Have fun on vacation, by the way.
Makes sense. I will do my best, no doubt about it. You think it's easy, but we have childcare here, and we've had help from a night nurse also to help us sleep some, and so we have a young son who's just born. He was just turned 3 months on the 18th, and so he does not like to sleep yet. And
me and my girlfriend actually met in childcare at the YMCA, and most of her experience is 7 years and under, and she used to be an infant room supervisor and all this stuff, and so I definitely understand, my guy.
James says Bryant would love a plank of wood if it got named kicker. Gotta love that guy. He definitely champions the underdog. Special teams, Sam Darnold.
Yeah. Someone's got to, right? Like,
that's right. That's right. Absolutely. Well, Levi, I know we can't root for each other's teams to win, but we can root for a good game.
I'm praying for no injuries. That's what I'm
no injuries. For. Exactly. That was the next thing I was saying. The other thing is no ref F-ups.
For real.
Yeah, that's a lot less likely, unfortunately. But anyway, I'll just say thanks for coming. Make sure you check out at DarwinsRaven20 on Twitter and X, also on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, give them a like, give them a subscribe. And I'll just say peace and go Niners. Want to give us what did Ravens Flock say?
I don't even know. Huh? I got to create my own saying.
There you go. No worries. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Thanks.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.